So we're gonna get started nice and gentle today. Just taking a little trunk twist here. Just taking a little bit of movement. Nice. You can shake it out a little bit. Maybe roll your shoulders. Just do anything that might feel nice. If you're sitting for a bit, maybe your legs are asleep, you want to wake them up. Anything that would feel good. Awesome. Now we're going to come into our mountain pose. So if you remember, that's just our standing, strong and tall pose. Nice, sturdy, stable feet. Strong legs. Nice, tall spine. We're just going to take a couple breaths here. You can relax your hands at your sides. You can even close your eyes if you'd like to for a couple of breaths. And just notice what your breath feels like. Maybe you'd like to slow your breathing down a little bit. Maybe you'd like to make your inhales a little bit longer. Maybe you'd like to have an audible exhale. That's an exhale that we can hear, so maybe you go, those breaths can feel really nice. We want to do a few of those. Excellent. Now you can just return to your normal breathing. If you've got your eyes closed, you can blink them open. We're going to start with some gentle movements today. We're just going to breathe in, take the arms up, take a nice big stretch. We're going to lift one hand higher than the other, and then switch, reaching the other hand, and then just switch back and forth a few times. Working the shoulders. Good. Then we're going to relax the arms down, take a little bit of movement there. Next, we're going to work into our shoulders a little bit more. So we're going to start with some big arm circles. So pick a direction and just start drawing big circles with the arms. Good. See how that feels in your body. Awesome. Let's do one more this way. And then whichever way you're going, switch sides or switch directions. Good. Let's do one more this way. And then we'll relax the hands down. Take a little bit of movement. We're going to do another little stretch here. Take the arms up. This time we're going to let one hand come down. And we're going to reach over with the other hand that's still up. Good. And we're going to switch sides. Reaching towards the other side. Nice and gentle. And then we're just going to flow back and forth, switching sides a few times. Nice, like a tree swaying in the wind. We'll go once more each way. Excellent. And then we'll come back to center, take a little bit of movement. You guys did so well last week with the balance. I want to practice that again so our body has a chance to experience that, and it might feel a little bit different today. So for our balance, we want to make sure we have a nice, sturdy mountain pose to begin with. So come into your mountain pose, standing up nice and tall. And for balance, you might like to bring your hands to your hips. That can kind of help us a little bit. And once we get going, I'll give you some more options for your hands. So first, we're going to pay attention to our weight. We're going to shift our weight to one side. So lean into one side. And the other side, we're going to start to lift that foot. So you can bend the knee and just start to lift. And we're just going to balance on one leg here for a couple of breaths. You could even touch your toe down and come back up. Good. Let's stay here for 2 more breaths. Good job. And then let it go. Take a little bit of movement. And then we'll practice that on the other side. So whenever you're ready, shift your weight to the other side now. And then we're going to start to float the opposite foot. Might feel a little bit different on this side. You might have better balance on one than the other. And feel free to touch it down, come back up a couple times. We'll be here for a couple more breaths. Good, one more breath here. And then go ahead and put that leg down. Good job. Take a little bit of movement. Next, we'll practice our tree pose, which we did last week. So this is another balance pose. You might like to keep your hands on your hips, or you can just relax them down. So same thing, we're gonna tune in. We're gonna shift our weight to one side. This time we're gonna turn that leg out. And then bring it just maybe right along the ankle, right along the calf, almost like a little kickstand. Good. And if you feel super balanced, maybe take it up a little bit further. And anything that's helpful for balance with your hands, you can do it. You can take it to your hips. You can take your palms together. You could wave them all around if that's helpful. Awesome. If you get to a place where you're nice and sturdy, maybe you try to grow your tree limbs. Reaching up. Awesome job, friends. Touching down whenever you need to. Coming back into the pose. Excellent. We'll stay here 2 more breaths. And then nice and easy, we'll come out of this pose, relax down. Good job. You can take some more movement here in between. Shake out your legs maybe. We're always working one of our legs a little bit harder, so it's good to take some movement in between. And then we'll practice that on the other side. So whenever you're ready, find your mountain pose again. Just standing up nice and tall. And this time we're going to shift our weight to the other side. Turn that leg out. Put it along. Oh, I think I need to switch actually. There we go. Take that foot wherever it feels like a little bit of a challenge to balance. You can take your hands to your hips again. You can take them to your center. Or if you feel super balanced, you can start to reach your hands up. Good. Sometimes we call these cactus arms. We'll stay here a couple more breaths, trying to find our place of balance. Wherever your arms are. One more breath here in our tree pose. Good. Nice and easy, see if you can come out of that pose. Good. Excellent job, friends. Okay. So next, we're going to practice a little warrior series. And so we have some different poses in yoga called Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Reverse Warrior. So we're going to practice all of those. So I'm going to turn sideways, just because that's the way my mat is facing. So we're going to start with our mountain pose again. Take a breath here. And same thing, we're going to start to shift our weight to one side. This time we're going to bend our leg, take it behind us to find a lunge position. So, however you got to face on your mat, you guys can take a minute to figure that out. Good. We want our front leg a little bit bent. And we want our back leg a little bit straighter. It can still have some bend to it though. Good. And for this one, we can take our hands to our hips. We can bring our hands to center. Awesome. And if you feel nice and sturdy, you can take your arms up. Anytime we take our arms away from the body, it makes everything a little bit heavier, a little bit more challenging for our balance. So find wherever you like to keep your hands. Good. One more breath here. This is our Warrior 1 pose. So next, we're going to open up our hips away from that front knee, and then we're going to take both arms out. Good, just like that. So Sometimes we call this surfer pose. You guys can probably guess why. We'll take a couple more breaths here. This is our warrior two pose. It's a nice, strong, powerful pose. Good. And from here, we're gonna take that front hand, flip it over. We're gonna drop our back arm down. We're gonna reach that front hand up and back. Good. This is called reverse warrior. Take one more breath here, stretching the side of our body. And we're gonna come back into our warrior two pose with both arms out. Good work. Next, we're gonna bring that front hand down to the thigh. And then we're gonna reach that back hand forward. Beautiful. Good job. We'll take one more breath here, stretching our sides. Then we're gonna come back to that warrior two pose, both arms out. Awesome. We're gonna straighten that front leg if you still had it bent. We're gonna bring our hands to our hips for this one. And then we're gonna hinge forward towards that front elbow. Good. This is called triangle pose, because it kind of looks like our legs are in a triangle, right? One more breath here. And then we'll come out of that pose, right back to our standing position. Then we're just gonna shift back towards the front, step the feet together, take a little movement. Good job, you guys did awesome with that. So now, you can shake it out. And then we'll take it on the other side of the body. So we're gonna do all of that, but for the other leg. So again, we start in our mountain pose, nice and sturdy. And we're gonna start to shift our weight to the other side and make sure you step the opposite leg back this time. So find your high lunge. This is called a lunge because we have one knee bent and we're kind of lunging forward. And again, we can take our hands to our hips here. We can bring them to center. And if both of those feel really sturdy, then you can start to make it a little trickier, taking the arms up or taking the arms out. And whatever you choose, you can always choose something else and see how that feels. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths. Good job. You guys are doing awesome. Excellent. So again, we're gonna open our hips up, away from that front knee. Take both arms out to our surfer pose. On the other side now. Good. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Then we're gonna go back into our reverse warrior. So we're gonna flip that front palm, drop the back arm, reach that front arm up and back. Good, we'll take 1 more breath here. And we're gonna come back to our warrior two pose, both arms out. Then we're gonna take that front palm to the thigh or the hip, wherever it feels comfortable. We're gonna reach that back arm forward. Good. We'll stay here 1 more breath. See if you can get one of those deep belly breaths. And then we're gonna come back to warrior two, both arms out. We're gonna straighten that front leg, take our hands to our hips, and then we're gonna lean towards that front elbow. Good. We'll stay here 1 more breath. And then we'll stand up straight. Turn back to our front leg, step those feet together. Good job, friends. Take a little movement. Excuse me. Got a tickle in my throat. Awesome. So next we're going to practice another standing pose, and it's called chair pose. So we're going to inhale, take the arms up. We're going to bring them down the body. We're going to take a big bend in the knees, like we're sitting in a chair. Good. You can bring your hands to your thighs here for a little bit more support. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. Good. We'll take one more breath here, and then we're going to take our forward fold. So straightening the legs, letting your torso come down towards the toes, and hanging out in your forward fold. It might feel nice to grab onto your elbows, take a little sway side to side. Awesome. Let's take one more breath here. And then nice and slow, we're going to rise to standing. Good. Next, I'm going to have you come onto the floor. Good. We're going to work with our legs a little bit more. So let's take both legs long. And then we're just going to point and flex our toes. Point and flex. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't really see my feet. But pointing and flexing. Nice. Let me shift the camera down just a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. That might be helpful. Alrighty. Yeah, that should be better. So, pointing and flexing the toes, a couple more times. You can do one and the other. Switch, 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 switch. Good. Next, we're gonna take a seated forward fold. So right where you are, just sitting up nice and tall, reach up high, and then fold towards your toes. You can let your hands rest along the legs. Making sure we're still taking some deep breaths here. We don't want to hold our breath when we're in any pose, but it can get kind of tricky breathing while we're folded over. So just making sure you're getting some good breaths still. We'll take one more breath here in our forward fold. And then sit up. Take a little movement in the legs. You can windshield wiper our feet back and forth. Nice. Next, let's do our butterfly pose. So we'll bring both of the feet together. Nice. And you can be still in this pose, or you might like to flap your butterfly wings. Kind of works the hips and the thighs a little bit. So choose if you want to move or choose if you want to be still. We'll be here for a couple of breaths. Sitting up nice and tall in our butterfly. Good. Let's take one more breath here. Excellent. So next, we're gonna leave one side bent, and we're gonna see if we can flip the other leg behind us. And maybe you bring that front leg in a little bit closer. Awesome. Looks like you all got that. So good. This is a very subtle pose, or it may not feel so subtle if you have tight hips. But you may also notice you kind of tend to twist towards that bent knee, and that's fine. You can kind of give into that twist a little bit. Maybe bring your hand behind you and onto your knee for a little bit of support here. And same thing, we just want to sit up nice and tall. Into your twist. Couple more breaths. We'll untwist, come back to center, and then we're going to switch sides. So you might like to take both legs long, take a little movement, and then whichever leg you did last time. We just want to make sure we switch. So I'm going to bend this leg in, flip the other one over, find a comfortable spot here, and then take that little twist towards your bent knee. Awesome, good job. Take a couple more breaths on this side. Good. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll untwist. We can take both legs long again. Take a little movement here. Might feel nice to bend both knees. Bring the feet to the floor, and then just gently let your knees fall side to side. Good. You can do it as many times as feels good in your body. Excellent. We're going to take our legs long in front of us and then take our feet apart. Make a little V with our legs here, otherwise known as a straddle. And you can leave your feet kind of relaxed, you can leave them pointed, or you can point them up or flex them up rather. So we're going to try to take a forward fold here. So I like to bring my hands in front of me for support for this one. And then we're just going to hinge forward, just walking our hands forward a little bit at a time, to where we feel a little bit of a stretch in the hips, maybe a little bit of a stretch in the low back. And just stay here for a couple of breaths. Good. Then we're going to take our hands and walk them over to one leg. You can choose whichever one first. We're going to do both sides. Take a couple breaths here. And then we're going to walk our hands to the other side. Awesome. And then we're going to come back to the middle again. Take another breath here. And then you can use your hands to press yourself out of your fold. You can bring the legs together, take a little bit more movement here. And then next we're going to come into our tabletop position. So on our hands and our knees. And from here we're going to bring our toes together. We're going to take our knees apart. We're going to sink our hips back towards our feet. And then come down maybe onto your forearms. If that feels really comfortable and you want to stretch a little bit more, you can stretch the arms long in front of you. Maybe bring your head down to the floor. Or you can stack up your hands and bring your head to your hands. We're going to just hang out here for a few breaths, okay? So feel free to close your eyes. Maybe think about something happy or nice. Good, let's take 3 more breaths here. You can count them if you like to. That kind of helps the time pass sometimes. Good. So as you're ready, you can press yourself up. We're going to go back to our tabletop. So you can take your toes apart, about the same distance as your knees. Awesome. And from here, we're going to take one leg straight behind us and just leave it on the floor. See how that feels. That should stretch the back of our leg quite a bit. And you can even kind of press your heel down towards the floor behind you. And kind of rock forward and back a little bit. Awesome. This is a really good calf stretch. And it's also working our feet and our toes a bit. It can feel really nice. Good. Then we'll bring that leg in. Might feel nice to sway your hips from side to side. Stretch the hips a little bit. Good. And then we're gonna switch sides. Take the other leg back, leave the toes on the floor. See how that feels, and if you wanna make it a little bit more intense, you can press your heel towards the floor. Good. Rock forward and back, or maybe you just stay still. Awesome, let's take one more breath here, stretching the calf out, and then we'll bring that knee in. Good. Maybe sway the hips again, side to side if that felt nice before. Awesome. Then we're gonna make our way just to a seated position just for a moment. We're making our way to a lying down position. So if you want to stretch your back and stretch your knees a little bit, you can grab onto the knees and do some rock and rolls here. Forward and up. You can do a few if you like. Or you can just go straight to laying down. We'll meet you there in just a second, but this can feel really nice on the spine. If you have a little bit of cushion under you. Good. Awesome. And whenever you're ready, we're gonna go lay all the way down. Good job, friends. Awesome. So let's take our arms up above us. We'll take both legs straight. Just stretch out as long as we can. Reaching long in both directions. Good. So now we can relax the hands down for a moment. We're going to choose one knee to bend in towards the body. And we can grab onto that knee and gently hold it. Good. Just gently holding it there, or you might like to hug it into your body. Nice. And then we'll go ahead and switch. Take your other knee in. Maybe hug it in towards you. Good. And next, if it feels okay, let's take both knees in. Kind of like how we just were for our rock and rolls. And just gently hold them both there. Might feel nice to rock side to side here. And feel kind of nice on our back. Good. We're going to let our legs come down. We're going to bring our feet to the floor. Excellent. And then we're just going to gently let our knees fall side to side again. Kind of like windshield wipers. Side to side. Excellent. So whenever you've done as many of those as you want to do, let's bring our knees back to the middle and then cross one of our ankles over our knee here. See how that feels. Good. Take a couple breaths here. Just letting our hip open up. Then we're going to take a low body twist. So whichever way your foot is pointed, we're just going to let it fall towards the floor. Twisting our low back. Doesn't have to go all the way to the floor, just as much as your body kind of naturally lets it go. We'll take a breath here. And then we'll untwist, come back to center. We're gonna uncross that leg. Maybe do some more of those knee drops side to side in between here. And then we'll bring our knees back to center. Cross the other ankle now. See how that one feels on this side. It might feel a little bit different. Take a few breaths here. And then we're going to take that same twist. So whichever way your foot is pointed, let that foot fall towards the floor. Good, let's take one more breath here. And as you're ready, we'll untwist, come back to center. You can uncross that leg and take any movement that you'd like to before we get into our very last pose. So any other movement that would feel good before you get a little bit still, feel free to take that now. And then I invite you to just find a relaxed position. You can maybe put your hands behind your head or just relax them at your side. Just a comfortable lying position where we can spend about a minute. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Just see if you can relax your whole body. Let yourself be heavy. Find a little bit of stillness, but move as much as you'd like to. We'll breathe here for about 1 minute and I will let you know when it's time to move again, okay? Good, let's take about 3 more breaths here. You might like to make some of those breaths a little bit deeper, a little bit longer than your normal breath. Letting your belly fill with air, and then letting it empty completely. Oh, excuse me. So as you're ready, you can come on to one side and curl up for a moment. You can use your arm for a pillow here. And then I invite you to practice a little bit of gratitude. And gratitude is when we express our thanks and our gratefulness for things that we're happy to have. So you might like to thank your body for working hard in yoga today. You might like to thank your mind for being strong. Any other nice things that you'd like to acknowledge and be grateful for. I invite you to take a few breaths to do that. And then nice and slow, you can use your top hand to press yourself up. We're just going to make our way to a seated position. Nice and slow, taking your time. No need to rush. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for practicing yoga with me again. And I think it'll be a different teacher at this time next week. So I hope you enjoy their class then if you're at the same time. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys so much.